G'day again everyone, and welcome to another edition of How to Become a Mathemagician. Okay, if you find maths a bit hard or a bit tricky, and especially if you find it hard to show working out, then this channel is definitely for you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. You can even pause this video now if you like and scroll down and hit the subscribe button. Because here at How to Become a Mathemagician, we just try to go through all the different concepts of maths and explain how it all works, and most importantly, we show how to put down all your working out so you guys can actually understand better how to show all working out. The final answer in a maths question isn't always the most important thing. It's to show your understanding of what the particular problem is and logically show how you get to that final answer. So knowing how to show working out a lot better will certainly help you to maximize how many marks you get in an exam and also in an assignment as well. So that's what we aim to do here. Okay, great. So in today's maths lesson, what we're going to be focusing on is simplifying fractions. Okay, so we've got some words here to describe it. So the key to simplifying fractions is to find the highest common factor you can to both the numerator and denominator and then divide. This then simplifies the fraction. So we'll go through a few examples and just to highlight and show and explain to you further what that means. So our first fraction we have here is 2/4. Or 2/4. Okay, and what we do is just beside here, we just write out all the factors of each part of the fraction. So the numerator, number 2, has factors of 1 and 2, and factors are just basically two numbers that multiply together to give you the number you start with. Okay, because 1 multiplied by 2 gives 2. All right, and exactly the same thing for 4. 4 is our denominator. Okay, so we write out all the factors of 4, and when we do that, we find that we get 1, 2, and 4, because 1 multiplied by 4 will give 4, and 2 multiplied by 2 gives 4. Okay, and when we have a factor that is like that, 2 times 2, we just represent it once. We don't have to write a second 2 down here. Okay. So we go ahead and do this in this first pretty simple example, and we write down all our factors here. So then the next step is to find the highest common factor. So that confuses people sometimes. So just to visually see the common factors, and we'll always have this with 1. Okay, so you can see here 1 is common to both and will always be the case no matter what numbers you have. Then we just look along with our factors and see if there's any more numbers or factors that are common to both top and the bottom. And as we can see here, 2 is common to the top and to the bottom. All right, and 2 is obviously higher than 1. So this is the one we choose. Okay, so our highest common factor for this fraction, 2/4, is 2. All right. So then if we move over here, so then what we do is, as we've set up the top here, we divide. So we get our numerator, which is 2, divided by 2, okay, which is our highest common factor. And that gives us 1, an answer of 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then we do the same with the denominator. So we have 4, and we divide it by 2, okay, because once again, we found 2 is the highest common factor. And then we get the answer of 2, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. All right, so then our answer to simplify 2/4 is 1/2, or 1/2. And this is all the steps involved, all the working out that you would be required to show to get maximum marks and to work these ones out correctly. Okay, so far so good. So we'll move on to another example, okay, which we have here. Now we start with our fraction is 3 over 6, or 3/6. So then we go ahead and follow the same process. So we write out all the factors for 3, and then we work out all the factors for 6. Okay, so 3 is actually a prime number, so it only has factors of 1 in itself. So 1 and 3, because 1 multiplied by 3 gives 3. But then 6 has a few more factors. Okay, so it has 1 multiplied by 6 to give us 6. But it also has 2 multiplied by 3 will give you 6. Okay, so these are all the factors of 6 here. So then once again, we just go along and we find the highest factor to both, which is obviously common. So here we find we're always going to have 1, all right? And in here we find that 3 is common on the top and common on the bottom. All right, so that's what we're going to use to divide this time. So when we come over here, we have our numerator of 3 divided by our highest common factor, 3, okay, which gives us 1. And then we do the same on the denominator. 6 divided by 3 gives us 2. Okay, so the answer to this problem, if it said simplify 3/6, all right, we show all this working out, show all the factors, highlighting the common factors, highlighting how we are dividing the numerator and the denominator, and then we get our final answer. Okay, so a couple of steps of working here, but the best way is to show all steps of working. That will maximize your marks, but it will also help minimize errors and problems that you may come across, and mistakes. All right, so 1/2 is a simplified version of 3/6, and this is how we do it. Okay, moving along to another example we have here. All right, so our starting fraction is 12 over 16. Okay, so once again, we follow the same process. The first step will be to write out all the factors for 12 and also all the factors for 16. So then we go ahead and do that. So because 1 multiplied by 12 gives us 12. Also 2 multiplied by 6 will give you 12. And also 3 multiplied by 4 will give us 12. Okay, and then we do the same for 16. We write out all the factors. So we have 1 multiplied by 16 gives us 16. 2 multiplied by 8 also gives us 16. And 4 multiplied by 4, once again, we don't need to write down 4 twice here. We just have to represent it once. But 4 times 4 also gives us 16. Okay, so then we have a look here. So there's a few more factors here on both top and the bottom to have a look at and to examine. So once again, we'll always have 1 as a common factor. Okay, now this time we also have 2 is a common factor. Okay. However, if we keep looking along here, 2 is not the highest common factor. Okay, we find that 4 is the highest common factor. Okay, through here. We also have 6 and 12, but that's not common to any of these bottom numbers, and neither is 8 or 16 common to any of these top numbers here. Okay, so when we follow the process, the highest common factor, there's a few common factors, but the highest one is 4. So that's what we use, is 4, to get it to its most simplest form. All right, so then we move over here, and we have our fraction 12 over 16. So we divide the numerator, which is 12, divide that by 4, which was our highest common factor, and we get 3. Okay, and then to the denominator, which is 16, we divide that by 4, which is our highest common factor, and 16 divided by 4 gives us 4. So our final answer is 3/4. Okay, because 3/4 is the most simplest version of 12/16. And this is all the steps of working out to show how we got there. All right, hopefully this is all making sense, and reasonably easy to follow. Feel free at any time to pause and go back over any of this content if you need to refresh. The best way to learn maths is practice, practice, practice. All right, so another example we have here, all right, is, okay, so we'll go through this one. Our starting fraction is 25 over 100. Okay, so once again, we follow the steps and we write out all the factors of 25. And here we'll have 1, 5, and 25. Okay, because 1 times 25 gives us 25. And 5 times 5 also gives us 25. And 100 has quite a lot of factors, and here they are here. All right, same process that we use to write all them out. Okay, so when we do that and we get all of our factors for 25 and 100, then we just find the highest common one. So in this case, it happens to be 25, as we've highlighted here. All right, is common to both 25 and 100. Okay, so then we move across here and we have our numerator, 25 divided by our highest common factor, 25. That gives us 1 as our numerator. And then 100, our denominator, we divide that by 25 as well because it's the highest common factor. And that gives us 4. All right, so the most simplified version of 25 over 100 is the same as 1/4. Okay, now I've just shown down here an example of if you don't use the highest common factor. Okay, so you can still, it's not incorrect. Okay, it just ends up giving you an extra maybe 1 or 2 steps of working out to get to the most simplest form. So we'll just go through and explain that. So in this example down here, we still have our 25 over 100, same fraction to start with. Okay, but this time, if we didn't choose the highest common factor, which was 25, say we just chose a lower common factor, which is 5, because 5 is common to 25, and 5 is also common here to 100. All right, and let's see what happens. So if we do that and we follow the same process, we do 25 divided by 5, which is our, not necessarily a highest common factor, but it is a common factor. Okay, so 25 divided by 5 is 5 for our numerator. And then if we do the same, we must do the same to the denominator. So 100 divided by 5, okay, gives us 20. All right, so that's okay. Now 5 over 20 is a simpler version of 25 over 100, but it's not the simplest version, okay, because 5 over 20 can be simplified a bit further. Okay, so then we just follow the same process and just show the working out, and we do the same steps again. So once again, if we look at our fraction now, our new fraction is 5 over 20. Okay, so we write down the factors. The 5 is 1 times itself is 5. All the factors of 20 are here. Okay, we have 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5. Okay, all of those are factors that will give us 20. Now we look at this and we follow the same process. So now we have the highest common factor, or apart from 1, it's the only common factor that we can choose. So we go ahead and do that. So the common factor is 5. So then our fraction here, we have 5 divided by 5, which gives us 1. Okay, and then we have 20 divided by 5 gives us 4. Okay, so see how we end up with actually the same answer, 1/4, and up here we ended up with 1/4. Okay, but the difference was in the first version of working this out, we chose the highest common factor, and we could get to the most simplest form in one step. Okay, but it's not wrong. You can still do it if you choose a common factor that doesn't happen to be the highest. That's still okay. But you just got to check that when you get your answer, which we did here, we simplified 25 over 100. We simplified that into 5 over 20. Okay, but then we just got to double check, is that the most simplest form? Okay, and when you're not using the highest common factor, it won't be the simplest form. You just have to perform another step, okay, like we've just shown here. So once again, we follow the same process. Write out all the factors, choose another common factor, or it happens to be the highest common factor when we've got it to this form, and then we go ahead and work it out. Okay, so hopefully that makes a bit of sense. If you have any questions or queries about this, feel free, put them in the comments section below, or if you'd like things explained a bit more, or I'll certainly get back to you, and we'll go from there. All right, so that's another example. Now, we have a couple more examples in this lesson. All right, so if we have a look at this one here, okay, we have our starting fraction is 10 over 34. Okay, so once again, we follow show all working out and follow all these steps. Okay, so we work out all the factors of 10, and they happen to be here because 1 multiplied by 10 gives 10, and 2 multiplied by 5 gives 10. And we do the same for the denominator, okay, which is 34. So all the factors of 34 are down here. 1 multiplied by 34 gives 34, and 2 multiplied by 17 gives 34. Okay, so we follow the same process. The highest common factor, all right, it happens to be 2, all right, in this case. So then we go ahead and we get our numerator, which is 10 divided by 2 gives us 5 over here. And then our denominator, which is 34, we divide that by 2, which is our highest common factor, and that gives us 17. Okay, so when we go ahead and we go and simplify 10 over 34, we show all of this working out here, and we get our final answer of 5/17, or 5 over 17. Okay, very good. And we got another example here. All right. Okay, so this is an example where your highest common factor is only 1. All right. So, and there's a multitude of different fractions that you could be given as a question. This particular one we'll look at is 21 over 40. All right, so we follow the same steps and the same working out. So we write down all the factors of 21, which happen to be 1 times 21 will give us 21, and 3 times 7 will give us 21. So they're all our factors of 21. And then we go ahead for 40, which is our denominator, and we write down all the factors of 40, which is 1 multiplied by 40, 2 multiplied by 20, 4 multiplied by 10 will give us 40, and 5 multiplied by 8 will give us 40. Okay, so then we go ahead and we look at the highest common factor. Now, unfortunately, in this situation, the only thing common to the top and the bottom is 1. Okay, which effectively just means that this fraction is already in its simplest form. Okay, and if we just go ahead and follow the process and show the working out, we will find that's the case. So we have our numerator, 21. We go ahead and divide that by 1, okay, which gives us 21. And same deal on the bottom. If we have our denominator, which is 40, and we go ahead and divide that into one group, we're going to have 40 in that group. Okay, so so this is actually the working out that you could maximize your marks on in an assignment question or an exam question to show how and why 21 over 40 can't be simplified any further, and it already is in its simplest form of 21 over 40, and that's because of all this working out here. Okay, excellent. All right, and then I think we've got one more example here. All right, so sometimes you'll be given a fraction where, once again, you can't simplify it any further like we couldn't in this previous example. So we'll have a look at this one here. But there's not many factors to choose from here. So our starting fraction is 19 over 37. All right, simplify that. Okay, well, once again, we follow the rules. We write out all the factors. Okay, and 19 happens to be prime, so it only has 1 times itself, 1 times 19 to give us 19, and 37 is also prime, so its factors are only 1 in itself, 1 and 37. Now, not too many to choose from here, and similar to as we had before, the only common factors and the highest common factor is 1, okay, which just means, once again, that this fraction here is already in its simplest form, and we can prove that by showing this working out. So we have our numerator, okay, 19, and we divide that by the highest common factor of 1, gives us 19, and the denominator of 37, we divide that by 1, which is the highest common factor, and we get 37. Okay, so a couple of steps of working out here to show how and why 19 over 37 can't be simplified any further, and why that is already its most simplest form. Okay, excellent. All right, guys, we might end the lesson there. So thanks for your time. Thanks for viewing. Once again, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. This is a great channel to go through all different types of maths questions and problems, and it explains every step of the way and to show all different types of working out, and hopefully this will help you guys understand sometimes the complex world of maths a bit more, and also be able to improve your maths results in exams and assignments by explaining to you guys how you can show all your working out and collect extra marks along the way, even if you make a mistake or two and end up with the wrong answer. As long as you show all your working out, then you'll certainly be able to still pick up marks along the way. Fantastic. Excellent. Okay, once again, thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.